thrill me.
This show is part of the Thrill Me Podcast Network. Experience more on Facebook and YouTube.
It's Review It Man, reviewing what he can. Movies are his jam, so let's get twisted, man. It's Review It Rob.
Hey yo, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Review It Rob Show. Hope all of you out there have been doing great. My name is, of course, Review It Rob, your host of this wonderful show, man. Got some fun stuff. Got a classic horror film that I'll be reviewing. Spoiler free, of course. I don't care how old the movie is. We don't want to talk about spoilers. That's right, I'm going to be talking about Psycho. You probably got that from the title. I'll be talking about the film Psycho, which was not the plan this week, but hey, things happen. Of course, get your mandatory DC and horror news. And then, some other random bits around the world of entertainment, including some sequel talk, casting talk, and Fast and the Furious talk, since the new Fast and the Furious movie releases this week, man. But again, hope all you out there have been doing great. Myself, I've been doing pretty fantastic, to be honest with you. Since the last time we talked here and you joined the show, I have started a new show with my brother, Tombstone Josh, who does the Metal Groove podcast here on the Thrill Me Podcast Network. Please like, subscribe, and share the Thrill Me Podcast Network. You can find all kinds of goodies. This show, the Metal Groove podcast, Haunters podcast, Slash and Report, and all this. We got so many podcasts, I lose track, man. And then we added a new one with Tombstone Josh and myself. Core Memory Unlocked. That's another one on there. I unlocked that memory. But my brother Tombstone Josh and I started a new podcast called WBRO. We are, of course, brothers in real life, and we used to do a podcast. Our podcasting journey started together, actually, on an old show called the Disnoids podcast that you may or may not have heard of, where we talked theme park news primarily. The show progressed and grew from as the get-go. It started as a Disney podcast, if you will, Disney Theme Parks podcast, because we talked about our trip to the opening of Pandora. Never again will I go to the opening of a land, by the way. And then it progressed to, we were talking about Universal Studios, because I am a huge Universal fan. That is my theme park. That is my home. And, we'd start talking movies and entertainment. That show kind of ran its course. And then, of course, as time went on, I started the Review It Rob show and had a great run and I love doing the show. And he started the Metal Groove podcast, which has been awesome. And, we're finally like, let's do a show again, man. Let's talk some stuff. So we're talking theme parks again as well. Of course, different name. But we're talking theme parks still. But we've added in like football talk and music talk and, all other kind of random goodies that we can throw in there to be like a good old hodgepodge or whatever of entertainment for you, man. So you can check out that show again. That's on the Throw Me Podcast Network. And I did a gameplay stream on our Throw Me Podcast Network. Got another gameplay up there. I played for the first time the Disney Speedstorm video game, which is like a kart racing game. Kind of think like Mario Kart. It's Disney's version of Mario Kart. Mario Kart. And I had a absolute blast. You can probably hear it in the voice. If you haven't seen that, again, that's on the Throw Me Podcast Network as well. Please check that out. That was a lot of fun. I didn't share it, of course, because I'm me and I'm wonderful like that. But I've had so much fun with this game since it's come out. I've played a little bit here and there. I'm not continuing the story. I wanna stream those to have fun with it. And I think the next one is Donald. So Donald Duck will be the next one. You start off as Mickey Mouse and run some races as a Mickey Mouse, and then all your founding characters and all that stuff. Continue to do that, and then I think it unlocks a story later on. I don't know, but I'm just having an absolute blast just running races, man. This is just fun because I played Mario Kart in the past and had fun with it and all that, but I don't have a Nintendo system or anything like that, so I haven't played Mario Kart in a long time. I'm very much a PlayStation guy. It's the only system I play. It's the only system I care to play. And when I saw this game, I'm like, cool, man, this can get me in there. I like Disney. And to be honest with you, this has unlocked a part of me that's kind of been gone for a while, the Disney part of me and all that, because I don't hate Disney, but Disney's not mainstream in my mind a lot anymore. But this game, absolutely unlocked a part of me where I was like, I do freaking love Disney, man. Disney's got some cool, fun stuff. And this game has been a really good time. And I've already been itching to go back to Walt Disney World eventually. So maybe soon I can make that happen. But having a blast with that game, man. If you got the chance to play some video games, man, get that. It's on the Switch. It's on Steam, PS4, PS5, and whatever the Xbox systems are. So yeah, fun time, man. Just fun kart racing game with your Disney characters who've got some fun powers and all that stuff. Just an absolute blast, man. But going from there, what else? Have I been up to anything else? Bought like 3 movie tickets. I love having the Regal Unlimited Pass because, like Sunday, I bought, or Saturday maybe, sometime this weekend, I bought like 3 movie tickets back to back to back. I only paid like maybe $6, $7 because I've got the Regal Unlimited Pass, which is like 20 something a month, and then you only have to pay like 52 cents depending on the movie. And I'm all 3 films I got tickets for are RPX films, which there's a surcharge because RPX is a little more expensive ticket for the experience or whatever. But I got the Fast and Furious ticket. We'll be seeing that this week. Review it next week for you, spoiler free, of course. Um, uh, Transformers. Got the ticket for that. There's a special event going on at Regal where you get like some collectibles or whatever. So got a ticket for that. And then Spider-Man. Went ahead and got the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I think it's called. Got a ticket for that as well. Is it Across the Spider-Verse? Into the Spider-Verse? It's one of those. Okay. Quick Google check. Okay, Into the Spider-Verse was the first one. This new one is Across the Spider-Verse. That is the one I just got a ticket for. Waiting for the Flash tickets to come out. We'll, obviously get that. And again, with the Regal Unlimited Pass, I plan on seeing that movie every week. I do not care. Flash is my favorite superhero. I love DC. Love Ezra Miller. Love Michael Keaton. Sasha Calle looks freaking awesome as Supergirl. I am into this movie. It's not even here yet. But nonetheless, man, that's all the things I've been watching this podcast as well called the Wizards of Waverly Pod, which is a podcast about the Wizards of Waverly Place show that used to be on Disney Channel. Now, that's a show that I don't think I ever watched all of. Like I maybe saw bits and pieces of that show at one point in time. I think around the time that show came out, I kind of aged out of it. Um, Out of Disney Channel because I mean my time with Disney was the Lizzie McGuire show, man. That's where my huge crush on Hilary Duff began. Um, you know, but at that, even Stevens, That's So Raven. I mean, just pull it up real quick. Look at the schedules here. Again, this show never has a plan. I just kind of randomly ramble here. So yeah, like 2000, Even Stevens came out. So it was that Lizzie McGuire, That's So Raven right there. Phil of the Future. God, I loved Phil of the Future. Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. I did watch that a good bit. Hannah Montana. I watched that. I think I hit the soundtrack for Hannah Montana. And then after that comes Corey in the House. Maybe saw a couple episodes of that. Wizards of Waverly Place saw a couple episodes of that. So that's 2007. So yeah, I pretty much Sweet Life on Deck didn't watch much of that. Sunny with a Chance didn't watch much of that. And then a bunch of shows I don't recognize. Girl Meets World. I came back for that because I love Boy Meets World. I grew up with Boy Meets World, so I came back for Girl Meets World, which debuted on my birthday. Really, that's freaking rad. I didn't know that. But yeah, I was out of Disney Channel before Wizards of Waverly Place. Like I guess hit its big stride, which that show was around for a while. Wow. So I did see a couple episodes of that, and I knew Selena Gomez was going to be a star from watching that and everything. But I found this podcast and just been absolutely enjoying it. It's making me kind of want to check out the show, and it's on Disney Plus and all that. But it's a fantastic podcast with Jennifer Stone, who played Harper on the show, and you got David DeLuise, who played Jerry on the show. Fantastic, man. Their chemistry together on this show is awesome. Again, I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it without even seeing all of Wizard of Waverly Place show. But it's been a fun time. Other than that, I haven't really been up to much anything else. Let's go ahead and jump into the reviews, man. So, the film review for this week, the spoiler-free, of course, is Psycho, the 1960 Alfred Hitchcock classic, which is rated R, a different kind of R back then than it is now. Horror mystery thriller film, of course. It is the master of suspense we're talking about here, running in at 1 hour 49 minutes. I saw this on Netflix. I believe it is also on Peacock, but it was on Netflix. We'll get back to that in a moment. Marion Crane stops for the night at the ramshackle Bates Motel and meets the polite but highly strung Norman Bates. And we're going to leave it there. The synopsis gives away a little bit too much about the movie, man. And let's see, Rotten Tomatoes critic score 96%, audience score 95%, so they are close there. IMDb has it an 8.5 out of 10. So, what were my thoughts on the film itself? So, crazy enough, I don't think before this, I've ever seen the film Psycho. I saw the remake starring Vince Vaughn. Saw that movie, which is a shot-for-shot, version of this movie. But I never saw this movie in full, and if I did, I completely forget, which is possible. I watch a lot of movies, but I've seen the most famous scene from Psycho in like horror, documentaries or whatever about the scariest moments or biggest moments in horror and all that stuff. So I've seen that scene and all that, but the vast majority of the film I did not know about at all. I know that Janet Leigh, who played Marion Crane, is Jamie Lee Curtis's mom, and the shower scene and all that stuff. I knew about all that, and she went to the Bates Motel and everything. But other than that, I didn't know much else about Psycho, which is, I know, interesting. But I kind of try my best to stay away from, spoilers of film. So there's other stuff that happened in this movie I didn't know anything about, which was awesome. I'm glad I go. And again, I didn't read that synopsis before. That synopsis gives away too much. So I was glad I didn't read that before going in. But I had no plan of watching this movie. Like that, this movie was not a plan whatsoever, and it fell on Mother's Day as well, which is kind of just random, especially if you know the story of the film and all that. It kind of works as a Mother's Day movie, I guess. But I was doing research for a Patreon show I'm starting on the Throw Me Podcast Network, and it involves horror films. And I was just, looking through streaming services to find horror movies, just random horror movies to watch. And, I went to Netflix and was like, okay, what do they got here? And the first movie that popped up was Psycho. And the plan for that show I'm working on is not to watch any, big time, well known horror films or anything like that. It's kind of the under the radar horror films is what I'm looking for. And I saw this, I'm like, I gotta watch it. I gotta watch this movie. I've never seen it in full. I want to check it out. I want to see, this movie and all that. And I freaking loved it, dude. Like, I absolutely loved it so much so it is immediately on my all-time favorite horror films list. You know, and what an absolute brilliant freaking film this is from start to finish. Like, Alfred Hitchcock knew what he was doing. Like, I know some people may have some certain feelings about Hitchcock, which is fine and all that, but when it comes to his movie making, dude is in an area of his own, which I'm not saying anything most people didn't already know, but he's got the nickname Master of Suspense for a reason, and the way this film is shot, the way this film is paced, the way the film is written, like every single bit of this movie is just perfect to me. Like that was just an unbelievably awesome watch, man. Just to see how the characters, all the acting is good. Again, the script is good. It's just everything about the movie just flowed perfectly and just worked right. And the way they built the suspense, of course, and made made you feel tense while watching. You're like, oh, what's gonna happen here? What's gonna go on here? Oh no, they're going into the house and all that stuff. Like freaking awesome movie, dude. And I've seen some other Hitchcock work. I saw Rear Window, which is also a very good movie. Vertigo I saw as well, which I remember being a pretty good movie too. Makes me want to watch other. I watched the Alfred Hitchcock Hour or whatever when I didn't have cable. It was like on the antenna. It came on late at night, right after the Twilight Zone series. Um, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, I think is what it was called, and enjoyed that as well. It's such a different feel from like horror films that are around now. There's still some horror movies that come out that build suspense and all that stuff, but there's so many horror movies now, and based on audience and all that stuff. We're gonna get to a movie that's coming out later this year that's getting some bad reviews, and I think it fits more around the time that we're in, because films that build suspense and aren't all about the gore and the nudity and the graphicness and all that stuff. I don't know how much that fits this generation. Now, and I know people have enjoyed like Heredity and Midsommar lately, which are kind of slow burns, but still get some fucked up moments in the film, and all that stuff. But these Alfred Hitchcocky, type of films, I don't know where they would fit in today's generation, which is kind of sad because, again, this movie is just like absolutely freaking stellar. Like it is absolutely stellar. And this is coming from, like a film fan and all that stuff. Like I care about movies and I watch all kinds of movies and love all kinds of movies. Even those horror movies I was just talking about that are like grotesque and over the top and gory and all that stuff, I have a great time with those. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I just think maybe around today's generation, I don't know how well a movie like this would have worked because it is a slow-paced film, and I've always hear people talking about, oh, it's a slow burn, and it takes too long to get there, and all that stuff. Like, so, I don't know, you know. But then again, it's such a brilliant freaking movie. Maybe it would have, still hit its stride in this generation. But overall, dude, watch it. Again, it's on Netflix right now. If you got Netflix, do yourself a favor and watch the movie. If you have Peacock, I think it's on there as well. Do yourself a favor and watch the movie. It is just absolutely awesome from start to finish. Just understand it is a black and white film. It was shot in the 60s. It is a black and white film. It is a suspense thriller. Yeah, it's rated R. Yeah, it's horror and all that stuff, but it's mystery thriller film overall that, and just, oh, so good. Freaking so glad I watched that movie. And now I got to do more research for my Patreon show, but that's fine, man. I don't care. It worked out for the better. So there you go. Also, there's a character in the movie called Sam Loomis, which I'm sure John Carpenter had to use for his Samuel Loomis and Dr. Loomis and freaking Halloween. God, and freaking Scream, right? Isn't that girl's name Sam Loomis as well? So yeah. Lasting impact to Psycho Boy. All right, so going forward, we now jump into the DC talk here, which is, again, not much to go around other than rumor mill with the DCU right now, but some interesting stuff happening over there. So, of course, with Superman Legacy coming up and casting and, taking its shape and all that stuff, there's a lot of casting rumors that are flying around. And insiders are saying that actor Nicholas Hoult is in discussion to play either Superman or Lex Luthor. Now, let's talk about this more for a moment. Nicholas Hoult is most recently in Renfield. Fantastic. Did great in it. He's a really good actor. He was also, I believe, in the running for the Batman before Robert Pattinson, of course, got the role and did a fantastic job with it. Excuse me while I open this drink. I don't know if you heard that or not, but I opened a drink. It is the Mountain Dew Diet, Mountain Dew Zero Summer Freeze. So good. But yeah, he is now rumored for Superman or Lex Luthor. I do not see him as Superman. Gonna be, full out honest with you, but Lex Luthor is intriguing and interesting, and I like that idea, and I could probably see it, So, if it was to happen, cool. All rumor. Rumor has also said, coming from the Hollywood Reporter, that David, I think it is. Excuse me, David. Yes, David Cornswit, whatever. I suck with names. He has also apparently been rumored for the role of Superman. Now, I don't know who this actor is, and that's nothing against him. It looks like he was in the movie Pearl. Have not seen Pearl. Seems to be an up-and-coming actor for sure. Let's see, he was in House of Cards, yada, yada, yada. Okay, whatever. But pulling up, like just him right now, pulling up an image of him, he looks like a young freaking Henry Cavill. Like, pull it up. If you're listening to the show, go ahead and take the time to look this guy up. It's David Cornerswet or whatever. Corenswet. He looks like a young Henry Cavill, which, by the way, Henry Cavill, if you did not know, played Superman at one point in time. And quite honestly, my favorite Superman of all time. And I see this. Like, this guy I can see. Now, again, this is just rumors, but again, he looks like a young Henry Cavill, which also sets up the fact that, if he plays him now, Gunn already said that the door's open for Henry Cavill in the future for them to work on something, but, who's to say he couldn't be Superman in the future? Anything can happen. But those are the rumors. There's also 2 unnamed actors that are front runners, apparently, according to these rumors, to play the Man of Steel. Lois Lane rumors are heating up as well, with Samara Weaving rumored for the role. Phoebe Danaver, Emma Mackey, and Rachel Bronson. I'll be honest with you, I don't know the majority of those girls. I do know Samara Weaving, of course. She's great. But again, all rumors. We don't know what's happening there. We won't know until James Gunn announces, of course. Other thing that happened on Twitter and rumors, and this one got James Gunn's attention. Margot Robbie. Questions about if she's returning or not as Harley Quinn for the DCU. Now, remember, she played Harley in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad movie, so you would all expect that he would probably want something else to do with her, and he's already mentioned that he plans on doing stuff with her. But a rumor has come out from an account on Twitter. They made a post saying Robbie is no longer Harley Quinn and has signed on to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and her contract with them states no more DC projects. In that same tweet, they claimed and even went as far as tagging James Gunn, saying he deleted his tweet about potentially working with Robbie in the future. This got James Gunn's attention, to which he tweeted back, quote, "Dude, why do you just keep posting lies? Sometimes they're just stupid made-up stuff, but other times making up bullshit like this about people I care about can be hurtful." maybe you're having a difficult time in life and lying for attention is how you get solace, but please find a better way, end quote. Which, fair enough, he's making lies about, somebody's character, to which, and I can say that because this account that said those things made a response to James Gunn saying that he did, in fact, make up the story. He makes up a lot of stories to get attention, and said that he would be closing the account, which, good. Stop making up bullshit lies. This is the problem with internet in general, be it the wrestling community or, comic book, internet or whatever. They like to make up a lot of nonsense. And this is why I love that James Gunn is addressing all this stuff and saying his part and, taking his part in all this stuff. And he said over and over again, when it comes to casting, he will let you know when casting happens. He's, casting has, for the last thing I saw from James Gunn, casting hasn't even started yet. So, hold your horses, pump your brakes. We're going to know when we need to know about who's playing what. Like, we don't need to know this stuff this early. Like, that movie's not coming out for a good amount of time. So, we can all wait. We can breathe, take a sigh. It'll be fine. But I'm glad he did that. People got to stop lying. I know the internet's good for nothing but lying and bullying, apparently, but some people got to stand up to it, and I'm glad James Gunn is. All right, going from DC, we jump into the horror talk. I mentioned this briefly earlier, The Exorcist. We have an Exorcist film coming out this year, another one. We had The Pope's Exorcist earlier this year, which was good. I enjoyed it. Check out my review. But earlier, they did a screening. As some movies do, they do public reaction screenings. And apparently the reviews are not too positive for the David Gordon Green film that is a direct sequel to the classic Exorcist film. Audiences didn't like the film, saying mostly the reactions are that the film is too long and not scary. Reports note that there is potential reshoots that could help salvage the film, but there is one consensus between all the film people who saw the film, and there is that there is, quote, one excellent jump scare, end quote. So this kind of goes with what I was talking about with Psycho, and if Psycho released now, how would audiences react to that kind of film? So when I hear the film is too long and not scary, we live in a world in film where we've seen so much, especially horror films. When that first Exorcist film came out, and I've mentioned this a lot, that I wish I could go back to that time when movies like that released in theaters, and it was making people pass out and throw up, and just because it was such, a different time. Like, the films weren't like that back then. They weren't, you didn't get films like that, so that film really scared the hell out of people. Now, and hearing this report that people are saying it's not scary, it makes me wonder. It's too long. Like, what does too long mean? What does that mean? David Gordon Green, of course, recently did this with the Halloween franchise. He made a direct sequel to the classic Halloween film, John Carpenter's Halloween from '78. He made the 2018 film, which everybody loved, and then after that, Kills and Ends did not get as positive reviews. And I'm wondering if that's carrying over to The Exorcist as well. All due time, we'll find out, when the movie actually gets here. But, I don't know. It's one of those things where we get a lot of exorcism films now as well. Again, that's the difference between back in the day. We get a lot of exorcism films now. So, we'll have to wait and see on this one. But, that's a little disheartening because I was, vaguely excited for the film. I wouldn't say I was extremely hyped for it, but I think it may have made my hype list just because I love the original so much. I'm interested in seeing those characters played with again, or some of those characters, and in a new, same world, but a new concept, I guess. Not a concept. I don't know. You know what I mean. Revisiting that and everything. So I'm going to have to wait and see on that one. That's supposed to hit theaters this year at Peacock as well, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, Peacock, doing the same day, like he did with Halloween. Yep. Let's see, Beetlejuice 2 is pretty much confirmed now. This has been rumored for a while. I've talked about in the last couple episodes of this show how, there's more and more stuff coming out about Beetlejuice 2. Well, we now officially, since the last time we talked, have a release date for the sequel. Beetlejuice 2 is set to hit theaters September 6th, 2024. So soon. The film, of course, will be bringing back Michael Keaton. Jenna Ortega, this generation's Scream Queen, will be a part of the film as well. Winona Ryder and Catherine O'Hara are returning. We've got Monica Bellucci. I suck with names, dude. Sorry. Bellucci. And we also have found she's going to be playing apparently Beetlejuice's wife, and then William Dafoe is the latest name added to the film. I'm excited, man. I like the Beetlejuice film. I don't need to go in, too much into it. I've talked about it again over the last 2 weeks about this movie and sequel possibilities. But I'm into it. I mean, love Michael Keaton, love Jenna Ortega. Winona Ryder's great, Catherine O'Hara's great, William Dafoe's great. Like, just everything's setting up to be groovy there. So, can't wait to see how things work out next year. So soon, but don't hate it. Let's see. Nicholas Hoult, talked about him earlier. He and I guess this lady's starting to become a scream queen of this generation as well. Melissa Barrera. They have signed on to star in The One, an upcoming horror movie centered on a reality dating show, nightmarish horror about the romantic and psychological warfare waged by our beloved popular entertainment. I'm laughing at myself butchering psychological just then. The One follows Taylor, played by Barrera, who makes a last-ditch effort to find love by becoming a contestant on a reality dating show. Now down to just herself and two other women competing to win the heart of Mason, played by Hoult, Taylor begins to feel the artifact of the show fade, and the game become terrifyingly real. Amidst the beachfront setting, fairy tale dates, and ever-flowing champagne, pursuit turns into obsession and rivalry turns into treachery as reality itself blurs. Does sound pretty dang interesting, not gonna lie. Again, I mentioned how good Nicholas Hoult is. Melissa Barrera, I like her. She is in the two Scream films, Radio Silence. This is why I mentioned she might be becoming a bit of a Scream queen, or at least working her way into becoming, a Scream, well, it's up for debate. But she's in the two Scream films. She's been great. We can all assume she's going to be in the next Scream film. And she is in this movie, which is a horror film as well. But she's also, I talked about this on the show recently, that she is signed on to work on with Radio Silence again in a untitled and unfully announced Universal monster film, which we're going to talk about a little bit more later in the episode. Actually, I can go ahead and bring that up now. So there's an upcoming monster thriller from the Radio Silence team who did the Scream films. They also did Ready or Not. She is in that film, and it's being compared to Renfield and The Invisible Man, like a newer take on the classic monsters and all that stuff. We don't know what exactly it is, but I still kind of feel like maybe Bride the Frankenstein, but we'll see. But she's part of that cast. In that cast, they've also cast Catherine Newton, who's becoming a star, with Freaky, and earlier this year Ant-Man, and she'll probably do more Marvel stuff going forward. So that film's shaping up, and we'll hopefully learn more about that to go in the future. But good on Melissa Barrera, man. She's building a career for herself. A lot of people have been shitty towards her about the Scream stuff and all that, which again, shitty. I don't even like calling them fans. They're just shitheads. But she's great. She's doing great. Can't wait to see more stuff that she does. Let's see. Disney and Scarlett Johansson apparently are still making the Tower of Terror film, the film that will be based on the popular theme park ride, which has the Twilight Zone background to it. You remember this was something that was announced a while ago, that she was working on a Tower of Terror film with Disney, and then she ended up suing Disney for the release of Black Widow, but it seems like they are fine now, and working towards making a Tower of Terror film, and Taika Waititi is apparently attached to direct it. There was a Tower of Terror film a while ago with Steve Guttenberg. Have not seen it. I just remember seeing the DVD when I was walking in Target one time. I'm like, what? They made one of those? So we'll see how it is. I've never been on Tower of Terror. My Disney tripping has not given me the opportunity. The last time I've only been to Hollywood Studios once, and I had the chance of either that or Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith, and of course Aerosmith guy. I was going to ride that. But good power to them. These Disney theme park movies, it's only been successful once with the Pirates of the Caribbean, unless I'm missing something. That Haunted Mansion movie, Eddie Murphy, didn't work out too well. We got another Haunted Mansion movie coming out this year, which does look really good. We'll have to wait and see how the film does itself, and I'll gauge and review it spoiler free on this show when the time comes. But positive thoughts. Hopefully it works out. I mean, Tower of Terror It should work out. I mean, again, Twilight Zone's a part of that, right? Or did they take the Twilight Zone aspect out of it? I don't know, but we'll see. We'll have to wait and see how that works out. But good to know they're still working on it. Also, good to know one of my favorite actresses is back on the big screen after 2 years. Man, Emma Stone is returning in a film. Looks like a thriller film called Poor Things. The film is of love, discovery, and scientific daring, set in Victoria era. Let's see. Stone plays Belle Baxter, a Frankenstein-like woman who is brought back to life after her brain is replaced with that of her unborn child. Holy cow! Stone stars opposite William Defoe. He's doing a lot of stuff, man. Good for him. Who plays the brilliant yet unorthodox scientist who resurrects Belle from the dead. That sounds really good. There's a teaser trailer out for that now. Again, I love Emma Stone. She is one of my absolute favorite actresses. Been a fan of her since Superbad, like I think a lot of people have, and just have loved her progression in film since then. Between working in comedies and working in serious films. Like I mentioned, 2 years since her last major role, which was Cruella, which is a film I absolutely love and adore. I have the poster on my wall behind me. She was fantastic in that as well. Just a super talented actress. So I'm glad she's back, and this sounds like a very riveting story and film. So I'm definitely ready for that. Let's see. Now that was it for horror and thriller and spooky and mystery talk. Now we jump into the other sections of the film realm before we close out the show. Starting off with, all right, man. This is news I've talked about. The rumors for the last couple episodes on the show, or maybe not the last couple episodes, but I know I've talked about it on a couple episodes, and that is the sequel to Freaky Friday. Jamie Lee Curtis has talked about wanting to do it. Lindsay Lohan has talked about wanting to do it, and now it is officially in the works over at Disney. And of course, Lohan and Curtis will be reprising their roles as the mother-daughter duo. Curtis said, "As I went around the world with Halloween Ends, people wanted to know if there was going to be another Freaky Friday." She told that in New York Times article. She continued to say, "Something really touched a chord. When I came back, I called my friends at Disney and said, feels like there's a movie to be made," end quote. And it's finally happening, man, and good on them. That first Freaky Friday movie is very enjoyable. Love Jamie Lee Curtis, of course, and Lindsay Lohan is talented. Glad she's got her life back together. She was great in that first movie. She had a good run for a while there. So excited to see how this works. I don't know if it's going to be released in theaters or a Disney Plus gimmick, but nonetheless, I will be watching it as soon as that comes out. Let's see. I already talked about that casting news. Other casting news, David Mamet's JFK assassination thriller has started casting. The cast includes John Travolta, Al Pacino, Viggo Mortensen, Courtney Love, did not know she was still acting, and Shia LaBeouf. We'll get back to that in a moment. The film is synopsis for the project. 1963, during a crucial justice hearing against organized crime, the head of the Chicago mob orders the assassination of President John F. Kennedy Jr., creating a deadly conspiracy while altering the fate of a nation, end quote. I think a lot of us know the JFK assassination and all that. There's been a bunch of documentaries about it, trying to, solve things and all that. There's wild videos out there and everything. It could be an interesting movie. Wanted to get back to the Shia LaBeouf of it. He is a very good actor. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about Shia LaBeouf being a really good actor. Mitch David Stevens earlier, I loved him on that, and I've kind of followed his career since then, and he's made some interesting choices, which more power to him. Transformers movies, Honey Boy, Peanut Butter Falcon, all kinds of stuff that he's done. But he's gotten in a lot of trouble, with his personal life and all that stuff, and some serious allegations levied against him, and I guess they haven't gone anywhere since then, in which he owned up to him right away. Like, I remember he immediately owned up to him. And there's a podcast that I like to watch called Real Ones that's hosted by John Bartholomew. I mess up his name all the time. Bartholomew or whatever, from The Walking Dead, and tons of other things. He played Shane. He was in The Punisher as well. He was awesome. Great actor, really good actor. Love his stuff. But his show's like grounded in like reality and touches on a lot of serious subjects. And Shia was on it. He and Shia were friends. They did that Tank movie together, and that is you watch that show, and I implore you to watch it. and you just watch the things that Shia has gone through, and he talks about his life and everything, and again, he owns up to all of it. Like, he doesn't try to hide anything or any of that stuff. He owns up to the stuff he's done in his past and all that, and then just it's good to see, and what he's working on. He's working on himself, and he's building recovery and all that stuff, which is good to see and is important to see and all that stuff. And I bring all that up because I've already mentioned it on the show earlier. I mentioned it several episodes. I am an Ezra Miller fan. I love Ezra. Ezra's one of my favorite actors, and the allegations and the stuff against Shia is 100 times worse than what Ezra's done. The other stuff is just baseless allegations that went absolutely nowhere, but people still bring up because they're too fucking stupid to realize different. But that's some kind of hope here, because we know Ezra's getting treatment as well, and the Flash is going to be a huge film, so hopefully Ezra continues to have a job as well. It's nice to see Shia continuing to have a job. Again, not supporting the things they've done. Again, of course, things Shia's done is worse than what Ezra did, but supporting the recovery process and the getting better process, and making up for your mistakes process and all that stuff. So again, not supportive of what Shia did, but he's owned up to his mistakes. He's working on bettering himself, and still got a career. I feel like he was cast in something else recently as well. So if he's got a career still, there's no reason Ezra Miller shouldn't have a career. So we'll see how things work out. And everybody makes mistakes in life, some much worse than others. There's redemption stories for everybody, right? But who deserve them, and if it didn't, see how it all works out, I guess. Now, to get heavy here, but this show does deal with mental health talk and seriousness and all that, and the battle Ezra's gone through mental health wise. And like I said, man, check out that Real Ones podcast. It's a really good one. It dives into a lot of serious subjects, and that Shia one I have saved to my watch later because it's a powerful thing. But yeah, JFK film has cast. Let's see. Positive note, more comedic note. The Righteous Gemstones, a show I was a little extra on. Season 3 teaser trailer, maybe full trailer, is out now. I'm excited for that show to return, man. I've had a great time watching that show. It's so good, man. And not just because I was like a special guest on it. That show is just a good time all around. Let's see. The Alita Battle Angel sequel is apparently still happening. Little information we know it's still happening. The latest information we've got is that they will utilize the innovative tech that James Cameron used for Avatar: The Way of Water. I don't know. I haven't seen the fucking movie. And let's say, like I said, mentioned here, Fast and the Furious week, if you will. The new Fast and Furious film is releasing this week. It's the start of the end of the Fast franchise. I'll talk about that more on next week's episode when I'm reviewing this film. But apparently, it is also the start of a trilogy to end out things here with the Fast and the Furious. Vin Diesel said at the premiere, going into making this movie, the studio asked if this could be a two-parter. Diesel said after the studio saw this one, they said, could you make Fast X the final a trilogy? So, looks like they're going to try to make a trilogy out of this finale here. Again, I'll dive into that a little bit more on next week's episode, where we're talking Fast and Furious review, spoiler-free. Looks like rumors have also suggested that Paul Walker's daughter will make a cameo in the film. Nepotism, anyone? Nah, just kidding. Making a joke of that stupid thing that people have a problem with. And apparently The Rock is rumored to be returning to the franchise for the first time in 6 years, and a feud. Remember, he was feuding with Vin Diesel for a while there. So he is rumored to be back, which probably is an effort to get some cred back after Black Adam did not fare too well. I am a DC guy. I did enjoy that movie, but it did not go as old Rocky was hoping it would have gone. What can you do? Live, you learn, move forward. So yeah, there you go. Hopefully it didn't trigger anybody with the Shia LaBeouf talk. Shia has been through some situations, some serious allegations, but I think he's taking the steps to make up whatever way you can there. Not apologizing for Ezra Miller talk, because Ezra, not a bad person. Ezra got drunk and threw stuff, and not okay, still wrong, but not nearly as bad as the allegations they're making out about them, which have been proven to be absolutely nothing. Read stuff, people, begging you. But nonetheless, gonna close out this show, man. I try to be, as kind as possible and positive as possible. And again, like I said on the show, we'll dive into mental health stuff. Not, insane amount, but I've struggled with my own mental health, and I see some of these celebrities, child stars dealing with stuff, and it's a weird world. We're all living it together and hoping for the best and hoping that, things get better. So stay strong, stay positive. Thank you for listening to the show. Appreciate you. As always, please check out the new show I got with my brother, Nope, that's wrong. WBRO. That show is out as well. Game streams will be happening. This Disney Speedstorm game. Gonna be playing that a lot and probably streaming it a lot. WWE, I should have a new stream for that. There's a new DLC coming out this week for that, so I should have a new stream up when that comes out. And well, that's it. All right, there you go, man. Be kind to one another. Is that what Ellen used to say to people? She was wrong about that. I just stole an Ellen line. Gross. But still, be nice to everybody. Take your time. Be kind. Be understanding. And remember, be kind to yourself, man. We're all in this game together. Take care of yourself. And you'll be all right, man. As always, I like to close out the show with a very powerful message. And that is that happiness can be found even in the darkest times if one remembers to turn on the light. Talk to you all next episode.